Hello, Jody here from Joli Natural Skincare, and today I'm going to be making star anise shaving cream. What we need for that is 1 star anise, 1 cup of water, half a cup of soap and half a cup of vodka. We start with the water. And 1 star anise. Like this one, it's practically perfect. We bring this to the boil, then we reduce the heat and simmer for 10 minutes. So I'll go and put this on the pot, on the stove, and then come back. And while that's over there brewing, I'm going to talk about why I started Joli and how it all began as I just gently prep the other ingredients here, which obviously isn't that many. But it started with a lady from the States. It's half a cup of vodka, I was getting carried away there. So a lady in the States had been collecting and making old-fashioned natural skincare and product recipes for 50 plus years. She'd been making them to use on herself, her family, friends, things like that, and then she progressed to markets and such and then started selling them there. After 50 years, she decided she's had enough, she wants to share the love, and she auctioned off the recipes and the formulas and the steps, instructions, and everything like that. They were purchased in 2005, and thus Joli was created. And it started with me just making some hand cream, rich cream moisturiser, and then the next thing I made was the baby bottom balm for my little boy who I couldn't use any of the regular standard nappy rash creams. None of them were working. His rash was getting redder and sorer and blistering, and it was really, really bad, and I was getting frantic. Sounds like the pot's boiling. So I've turned that down, simmering for 10 minutes. So then I put the salve on him one time when we were camping, and lo and behold, his rash was soothed instantly, and I was like, wow, I'm onto something here. So that was sort of how it started. While I had been looking for a nappy cream that worked for him, I'd been finding from reading all of the ingredients that they all contained really iffy ingredients that were problematic for him. So then further researching, I found that a lot of the ingredients that are in skincare today were left over from the war. They manufactured all manner of toxic chemicals in the war to do different things. Some of it was warfare to poison people and such, and some of it was things like antifreeze, which obviously, you put in motors and things to stop them from freezing when you're in cold weather. And antifreeze, aka propylene glycol, is one of the most widely used chemicals in today's, everything. It's not just in skincare, it's in alcoholic beverages that need to be frozen in the fridge. So like a frozen martini, for example. So we'd just been using them because they were leftovers. Manufacturers were like, well, what are we going to do with all these chemicals now? Hey, I've got an idea, we'll put them in products. And they were good in that they stabilised products. Obviously, put something in antifreeze, send it to Iceland where it's cold, and it doesn't freeze. So it had its benefits because you can then ship worldwide and the products are stable. But that doesn't mean that old-fashioned natural remedies don't have their place. They have been around for an eternity, and that's because they work. It's not that the stuff that's around now is wonderful and better Obviously they have their place. There are certain active ingredients that work really well that we've developed now and things like that. But natural products are really good for those with sensitive skin, problem skin, and all of those kind of complex issues. So as I'm saying, it's not that they don't have their place, they most certainly do. And that's why I started what I started, because I have children who have very sensitive skin. I couldn't use anything on them. I was in a moral dilemma. What do I do? Do I keep going buying this stuff here and trying it, buying that stuff and trying it? Nothing if it's working. I'm feeling like I'm failing as a parent. I can't get my rashes under control. So then I started this, and that's how it was born. And so that's why I like to do these things and bring you these recipes, share them with you, so that other people who are interested in the same thing. And I should say right now that, excuse my dog, he suddenly decided to have a big drink of water. Can you hear him? He follows me from room to room. So yeah, I want to share these recipes with the public, with those who are in the same boat as me, who want natural, who can't use mainstream products because their ingredients in them are a little bit too aggravating, and also those who just like to get back to basics, the old-fashioned natural skincare that we used to use in days of old because it worked. And I think I've said this before, perhaps not in videos, but in blogs that I've written. In natural skincare products, the active ingredients are things like the essential oils, but also even the oils themselves. So let's say something's got apricot oil in it, that still has really good U-butyl wonderful properties, things that it does for skin. So it's not as though the ingredients in the skincare themselves aren't going to do anything. They most certainly do. Then you add extras like active ingredients such as essential oils that give it that little bit of a boost in what it does for your skin. And so with that being said, let's move on to the next stages of the recipe. So we take the star anise out. It's pretty much there to sort of flavour the water, give it a masculine woody scent. Then we add half a cup of soap flakes, and I'm using all of my offcuts to soaps that I make and sell on the Joli website. Again, more natural soaps. They may contain a little bit of colourings and fragrances, but they're still more natural than the stuff that you get up the street, and the scents aren't overwhelming. I personally find soaps that I buy in stores, the scents are so overwhelming I get a headache. So that's about a half a cup. And now my soap flakes are finished, so I will have to make some more soap so I've got more. And so we gently let this melt in the hot water. Whoops, we've got a little bit of loofah in there. That's going to be interesting. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that we're going to add a little bit of rose essential oil. In this case it's 3% in jojoba oil, because it's a very expensive essential oil, rose. So just a few drops of that. It won't really smell very florally, but it sort of takes away the strength of the anise, gives it a more sort of pleasurable scent when you're mixing a woody and a floral scent together. Obviously, if you added different soap, less colourful soap, you'll have a different finished product. And this soap will have a nice pretty colour to it. So we warm this gently until the soap is pretty much all melted. Now I should say at this point in time that adding the essential oils earlier was the incorrect time to add them. You don't want to add it to something you're about to warm, because if you heat it too much, the oils and the essential oils can lose their properties. So I will just add a few more drops. And I will add the half a cup of vodka. And I do want to point out here that the vodka is to preserve. However, it is much better than a chemical preservative propylene glycol, for example, you need a hazmat suit to work with. That's the full shebang, the gloves, the outfit, think Contagion. And making the things that I make, I don't need any hazmat material whatsoever. I don't need a hazmat sign. I don't need any of that because all of the ingredients that I use are technically safe. Obviously, if you drink too much vodka, you can die of alcohol poisoning. And obviously, if you drink too much water, you could still die. But propylene glycol is way more deadly. So things like this, they're a more natural, less deadly alternative. So we add that to the mix and we give it a zhuzh. Yes, I thought that would happen. So after making a mess, I'm going to pour it into a different container. Pour it into something tall. Try again. So this is how it's looking at the moment. And the beauty about making these videos is that you can troubleshoot with me and I can troubleshoot with you. And we learn, just as they did in the old days where they added a bit of this. Did it turn out? No, let's make it a little bit thicker. Was the scent too strong? Yes, we'll add a little bit less. So what I suspect is going on here is that the soaps I make on the website are olive oil based. And olive oil is not thick at room temperature. So I think that using an olive oil based soap, or in this case the soap crumbs, is a little bit too thin. So what I'm going to do is add a paste that I've made with thicker soap. And what you'll find with that is that store-bought soaps and things like that, they're usually made with things like tallow, palm oil and coconut oil. All things that are solid at room temperature. And worst case scenario, this doesn't work. I'll still put this video up because what I said about natural versus chemicals, I think is an important message, and it's especially important to me and why I do what I do, especially important to my brand, Joli. So let's give it a zhuzh and see what happens. It's still running. Interesting. It is meant to come out as a creamy paste, so it hasn't worked. And I really don't know why, but I shall play around with it and figure this mystery out. Like maybe I can add less water next time, more soap flakes, find a different recipe and see how we go. Because it is meant to come out as a nice creamy paste. That being said, I mean, let's have a play around anyway, right? When I was a little girl, I used to get in the bathtub with these funny little fake razors that I'd make, right? Get some soap and put it all over my legs and then pretend to shave, and thought I was you beaut wonderful because I was just like the girls on the ads, who incidentally never had leg hair, which, strange, right? You too can never have leg hair if you use this particular razor that we're selling. So let's have a look. So yeah, it's not really thickening up. I mean, I suppose it would still lubricate the area if you were going to shave. Right, just like a pro. Anyway, that was just some random little thing I wanted to show you of something I used to do when I was little, and I thought it was really funny. But I'm going to come back with this with part 2 because epic fail. Sometimes it does happen. And if you have any questions, drop a comment below. And if you are one of the people who are looking for skincare that's made for sensitive skin and skin that can't use all those harsh chemicals, and even if you just think, like me, that the production of these chemicals is problematic for our earth, so why go there and buy that stuff? You can always purchase natural skincare products from the Joli Natural website. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to give me a thumbs up and some comments. Love to hear from you. Thank you. Okay, take 2. Let me tell you what I've done so far. I did half a cup of water instead of 1 cup of water to half a cup of soap flakes. So even amounts of water and soap flakes. And I've used 1/4 cup of vodka instead of a half. And I've warmed it. So now I'm going to see if this mixes together the way that it's supposed to. And I want to say too that the recipes that I'm trying are not from the Joli work files. They're just magazines and things that I've collected over the years that have recipes in them that I like to try out and see how they go. Whereas the Joli files, the ones I use for work, are these gigantic thick binders with pages and pages of formulations. So just to clarify, I wanted to just point that out in case you're thinking, well, if this recipe isn't working and these are the recipes that you use to make stuff on your website, then aren't they a bit dodgy? They're 2 different things. So let us continue with our attempt at making the shaving cream. So far it already looks thicker and better. So I did have the star anise in here as well, and I haven't added any essential oil yet because I want to wait and see if it works instead of wasting it. And I only warmed the vodka gently because I didn't want to kill off its potential preserving properties by killing off all the alcohol. Now it's gone a bit white because I use this spoon to stir it, so let us try. I think I'm meant to be stirring as I pour, so... It looked like egg whites, like meringue. And in the picture, it doesn't look like that. So I'll show you in the picture. See, some sort of nice white fluffy thing and then it turns into a cream. Well, but the real question is, will it solidify? Will it shrink down, get rid of all those air bubbles and turn into a solid cream? That is the question. Or will it separate like the other one did? The other one had sort of the foam on the top and sort of liquid at the bottom. Doesn't look like it's separating, but it also doesn't look like cream. And so theoretically what you're meant to do is store this in a container. You get your brush, you dip it in the container, a wet brush, and you put it on yourself. So let's have a try. So professional. It's kind of bubbling more than the last one did. Remember the last one sort of, what's the word? It disappeared into the skin. And with my faux Lego razor. Interesting. It's got that genuine shaving sound to it, doesn't it? Yeah, so look, interesting. So I have a feeling it'll become more tacky over time and the bubbles will eventually wear away. But I would definitely say playing around with the quantities has made a difference. It's worked better. It's not as bad as the other one turned out. It looks more sort of creamy. So I'll keep giving this a stir until bubbles go away, like it just gets flatter. See how it's getting flatter? That's what I want, just flatter. Beating it has aerated a lot, and I want it to be less aerated. Then I would stick it in a container, and then whenever I need to shave, dip that in, do my thing. That being said, I actually do not shave. I've always epilated, which is plucking the hair from the root. So, not necessarily something I will use personally, but I do live with a whole bunch of guys and they definitely shave. So, it looks like aftershave. It's got that foamy thing going on, so I think I can add some essential oil now. There we go, a few drops. And incidentally, I can't smell the star anise. I nearly said still. Mix of two words. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Some shaving cream here. Anyway, give it a shot. Let me know how you go. And of course, if you have any questions, drop a comment below. If you have any suggestions of something you'd like to see me make, feel free to comment. Because as I said, I do have lots of books and things that I can work through. It'd just be easier, obviously, if I know what it is that you're interested in, and then I can go from there. I mean, at the moment, I'm just sort of going through standard recipes that, you know, most people use day to day. But as mentioned, this is a more natural alternative to a chem-filled product you'd get up the street. Anyway, thanks for watching, and any questions, just drop a comment below.